huge card on slate today.
15-game card. It's us versus the bookies. Bases loaded, high noon. It's going to be a showdown.
On a suddenly not so casual Friday, the buy hat is engaged. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to MLB Bases Loaded on this Monday. It is Monday, June the 8th, 2026. We are back for more, opening up a brand new week, the second full week of June. Data abundant baseball, coming off a very successful weekend, a great show on Friday. Mike, how was your weekend? Welcome to the week. What's going on, brother?
Man, the weekend was great. You know what they say? It's high noon. It's bases loaded. It's going to be a showdown, Shark. I'm looking forward to a big week with you, my friend. And we're going to finish up the week with some World Cup. So more sports and sports and sports. If you're a sports fan, Sports Money Network, my guy is Shark, Mikey Money. That's where you want to be.
Absolutely. If you guys are in the chat, I'll say it as I always do. It's a nice little lunch hour on the East Coast. If you guys are out to lunch, eat a burger, some wings, some beers, hang out with us, get in the chat. If you're on the West Coast, get your black coffee and get ready to dominate. We got 8 games. All series openers on this Monday. Let's not wait around. Let's get down to business on a suddenly not so casual Monday, June the 8th, 2026. First game on the card, 6:35 in Baltimore. Mariners opening up a series at the Orioles. Interesting dynamic here. Mariners coming off a series in Detroit. A nice little melt yesterday afternoon. I had the Mariners. Anthony Munoz said, Shark, I'm not going to allow you to win. Now the Mariners stay on the road, go to the Orioles, coming down off a weekend series in Toronto. Travel may be kind of daunting for both teams. Mike, what's going on in this game?
Yeah, take a shot with, as much as I like this Herbie Hancock fella, a lot of people talking highly on this guy, and Bassett with the back injury. Those are kind of two concerns. Last game, Bassett comes out of this thing. I got to take a shot with the Orioles here, man. The AL East, Seattle. The funny thing about Seattle, this is a terrible spot historically for Seattle. And you're going to look at it and be like, maybe like, oh, the travel and this and that. I got it. I get all that stuff. But historically, to start the second series on the road for the Mariners is a losing proposition. And so kind of one of them weird little anomalies, but then add Monday into the factor as well. And it's hard to get there. So I'm looking at this plus money price tag here. Again, I know Hancock, and generally speaking, do you want to get in front with the first 5? I don't know, but how about this, man? 15 years of data starting the second series on the road. You're 30-8 if you fade these boys here. So I think this is good plus money. I'll take a shot. I'll take a swing with Bassett, but I want the full game, because if they pull Bassett early with that back bullshit and Hancock goes out there and shoves on him early in the first 5, I want to let the length of Gunnar Henderson and the rest of the squad come back and put some runs on the board for me.
Yeah, we're starting off the week with disagreement. I have a blue shirt on. It's not royal blue for the Royals. It is the throwback Mariners hat. Ken Griffey Jr., get in the building. Let's cash it on this Monday. But, Mike, you're talking about great data. I didn't know that. 30-8 fade. Zoomed out to 38. Let's zoom into 2. Last 2 road Monday games traveling for the Mariners off a loss on Sunday. They are actually 2-0. So in the real hypersensitive close window, they have performed in this spot. And speaking of a close window, Emerson Hancock here this season, as you said, absolutely dominant. Big sample, 70 2/3 innings pitched, only 22 earned runs, a whip under 1.0. This guy is skyrocketing to the top of the American League. I said this earlier this year. I said, this dude is potentially the best pitcher on their staff. They've moved Milw around. They moved Castillo around. Gilbert's looked inconsistent. It is very conceivable to say this guy is their best pitcher. He's also 2-0 on the road as a favorite out of the division, if not on Western time. Did catch a 3-2 win at St. Louis right in this line range, and did hit the White Sox 12-8 right around this line, minus 136. And I was doing a little research on this guy. He's from Georgia. He was the 6th overall pick out of the University of Georgia. He's an SEC guy. Top 10 picks in Major League Baseball are supposed to perform to this level. Who's not performing to this level, Mike? Bassett. He looks like trash. He's 37 years old, and as you mentioned, back injury. pulled in his previous start at Boston, looked absolutely terrible in the process of giving up 3 earned runs in only 3 innings pitched. I thought he'd be out for at least 10 days. They're keeping him in the rotation, I think because they have limited arms in their rotation. I think Seattle will be able to tee off. And one final point on this travel. When I looked at this originally, I thought the Mariners were in a tough spot. And then I realized they're staying on the road, not coming from the West Coast. If they were coming off a home game, coming all the way across country, I'd be more worried. This is kind of in the flow of a long road trip for them. And Baltimore is coming home off of 13 straight divisional games and 2 losses north of the borders. They got to go through customs. Letdown spot for me off 13 straight divisional games. Big dog stuff here early on a Monday. Mike, I can see you smiling. Yeah. Any further thoughts?
Listen, I'll give you Bassett and I'll factor the travel in there, but this is actually the worst spot for the Mariners here. That second series on the road, historically a bad situation. Now, they did win the only time it showed up this year, but make them a favorite between minus 160, even up to a plus 120 dog. And they were on the road. They're opening the next series on the road. And this is historically a tough little place here. Now, they have to have lost their previous game as well. The opponent has to have lost their previous game. So there's a little bit of a caveat in there. But second game of the series, it will be fun to see if I can keep padding that record.
Yeah, I mean, I can only lose coin flips for so long. So just remember that. But our guy in the chat, Jermaine, here says over 9. Jermaine, you're on to something there. I think you're going to see runs in this game as well.
Yeah, that's good, pal.
Absolutely. Going back to the start that I mentioned, the last one for Hancock, not on Pacific Time Road start. That game at the White Sox was a 12-8 final. And you talk about the lineup backing guys. I think they will back Hancock here. You know, as long as Munoz doesn't come in the game, I think I'm fine, if I'm being honest. This guy has blown about 7 games for me in the last year alone. We weren't doing the show last year. Kind of funny conversation. Last summer, Anthony Munoz single-handedly was robbing my bank account, and he did it to me yesterday yet again. Don't get me started on Munoz, but we're just getting started here on a Monday. I like the Mariners. The buy hat is engaged. Mike is on the Orioles, and we agree with the over. If you guys are in the chat, guys, open your eyes. Talk to us. It's a beautiful Monday. Let's ramp up the energy, and let's keep it moving. Next game on the card, going to Tampa Bay. Divisional baseball tonight. Only 2 divisional games on the card tonight. This is the first one, and it's certainly an interesting matchup. Conley early at Ian Seymour. Seymour looking like an opener. Early looking like an ace. Already aced the Rays once this year. Mike, can he do it again?
I'm curious about the way this one's going to perform because generally speaking, I don't like to get involved in them situational spots where they're pushing a pitcher off. And because of the rain delay, Connor Early dodged a bullet there with the Yankees taking that bat to his bottom. So does he feel like that's the case? And are we in a situation where Tampa Bay has kind of played beyond their expectations? We've talked a little bit about these guys just being way too hot, but Early does play well on the road. So you got to give him that. He's 3-0 with a 2.67 ERA, much better than what he's doing overall in the grand scheme of his campaign, as you like to call it here. He did give up 4 earned, 2 homers in his last start there. That was against another AL East opponent. So what do we see? How do we go about it is the ultimate question down here. Now, I'll tell you this. The Rays at home against lefties have been problematic. And I feel like the Trop is a problem situation as well. So for those reasons, I'm going to take Boston in this case here. I kind of like Boston more in the first 5, and I really was leaning towards this under. I'm not sure what these hitting conditions will look like, but I kind of feel like this bodes well for, you can catch the 7.5 at plus 117, even an 8 at minus 115. I'm going to go Boston. I'm going to go with the under. I kind of like the double dipper.
Agreed and agreed. I have Boston and the under both officially here, Mike. We're aligning on this one. I like it. I like a little good conversation where we agree on a Monday. And no, I completely agree on the Conley early take. As we said, he did already ace the Rays once this year. His best start of the entire year. 7 innings pitched, only 4 hits, 0 earned runs. And when I was handicapping this, I found really a unique pattern, which I love. That start against Tampa was actually a bounce-back start off his worst start of the year, where he had only gone 4 innings pitched, 5 earned runs against the Astros. You're getting a very similar calendar spot tonight. He's off a loss at home, where he did labor, giving up 6 hits, 2 home runs against and 4 earned runs against Baltimore on Tuesday night. That start I just mentioned against Houston and the previous one against Baltimore, the only 2 starts this year where this guy's given up 4 earned runs or more. So he is a bounce back pitcher. And the fact that he got the Rays off the previous one and went into complete Game 7 lockdown mode, I love for this handicap. Furthermore, on this really continues into a conversation we started last week regarding the Rays. The Rays, in my opinion, are one of the top 3 sell teams in the sport right now. You saw them just lose 2 out of 3 on the road at Miami. You saw McClanahan take his first road loss of the year as a favorite. And this team is incredibly overvalued in the market. They're currently sitting 37-25, only 7 runs plus in the run differential. I was looking at the futures market. You guys in the chat are going to honestly be kind of blown away by what the books thought of these 2 teams back in March. The Rays futures total was actually only 76.5. They had them under 500 for the season. And they had the Red Sox at 87.5, who are now 11 under. So this is really the 162 at work. The Rays are way too hot in the early going. They're going to plummet downward. And the Red Sox are far too cold in the early window. Absolutely final point on this. You're getting a nice little buy low on the Red Sox. The Red Sox are coming off a loss yesterday in New York. It was Cam Schlittler. He aced them. Let that be what it is. The Red Sox are 1-0 in series openers on the road in the division on a Monday night. And they are one of the best road teams in all of baseball, despite their under 500 overall record, 17-15. I think early shoves. I think this is Boston first 5, the under. I see Boston winning this game somewhere in the range of 4-1 or 5-1. Take Boston, take the under, and let's cash. Next game on the card. 6:40 in Cleveland. National game here, Fox Sports 1, Yankees Guardians, Will Warren at Gavin Williams. Rematch of Williams just facing the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. He just beat Garrett Cole. He looks like an ace. Mike, what's going on here tonight?
Yeah, I find this a good competitive pitching battle. You know, Willie Warren's been on fire. Overall performance with this guy. We talked about kind of how's the rotation going to manage him. Another guy that pitches better on the road than he does in the bright lights of, you know, the home stadium and Yankee Stadium. He's 3-0 with a 2.25 ERA. You know, you got some missing bat power from this New York Yankees lineup as well. So there's a couple ways I want to get after this one. So we talked a little bit about the change of dynamic. Now, the Mariners are that exempt team where it's their second start in the road, kind of one of them shit spots to be. That being said, though, fading a team coming back after just a 3-game roadie or more, great spot to be here. 157 and 108. So I got to look at that with some respect and say, okay, this is a nice little Yankees price tag because they're factoring in that previous Gavin Williams shove. They're factoring in that there's no, Aaron Judge in the lineup. And to me, I'm okay with that because ultimately here's the problem I have: strikeouts, right? So I like Will Warren in this case with his strikeout prop is over 4.5 is plus 110. You look at it, and he's got about a 26% strikeout rate, but it's that magical number that we look for of the K to 9 ratio, 9.8 strikeouts to 9 average innings out there. So he's north of the one whole number Mendoza line that we look for. He's gone over the 4.5, 80% of his starts on the year. So you catch this 4.5 at plus 110, get this Yankees price tag at what's ridiculous number. These Guardians, you know, they find a way to school through and scrub 1-run wins out there. But I'm going to take that Yankees plus money price tag. And then I like the under in this game. This just feels like Cleveland mid-season. Look at this under. Pitchers going out there and battling. So collectively, I like this thing in a little 3-way spot. I like the Yankees. I like the Willie Warren over 4.5 strikeouts. And I like the under 8 in this game as well.
Yeah, disagreement here. I have a hat I haven't worn in quite a while. The chat's going to like this one. Robert says Guardians money line. Kelly says Cleveland -1. I say the buy hat is engaged. Taking the Guardians on the money line. And Mike, we're talking about two pitchers that are hot. I'm trying to unpack who's too hot and who's going to come the other direction. What I find to be more unsustainable in this conversation is Will Warren being 5-0 on the road. third consecutive road start as well, which I do not like at all. This guy pitched at Kansas City 2 weeks ago on a Monday, 4-3 win, stayed on the road at the Athletics, another win. And you talk about sometimes this historical data. I don't have numbers in front of me. I'm just analyzing human psychology, particularly for young pitchers. This kid's only 26, second year in the rotation. Staying on the road for 3 consecutive starts has to be absolutely brutal. And I think 5-0 on the road is a sell point, a massive, massive sell point at the high point there at the peak. This Gavin Williams dude, also 26, is just a flat-out ace. You talk about a guy that is just performing and really in the beginning of his journey upward. He's 2-0 at home this year against the American League East. Shoves in this spot. Caught Baltimore, 4-2 win, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 11 Ks. Caught the Rays at home back when the Rays were hot. 7 2/3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 9 Ks. He absolutely turns up in this spot. And as I mentioned, he just beat the Yankees on the road. The line is shifting in the other direction. The Yankees are hurt. Aaron Judge is out for a while. There is a lot of moving parts in this game. The buy hat is engaged. Take the Guardians. And
I got a follow-up question for you.
Sure.
What about 3 starts on the road makes it so tough? If you're the better pitcher on the road, pitchers aren't traveling in the day-to-day conundrum of the rest of the team. They're playing once a series, maybe every 5 days. So they're getting out there a day or two ahead of time to grab a nice big fat steak, sleep in a giant bed by themselves, and get first-class A1 accommodations. Why is it that third start seems to be problematic on the road if you pitch better on the road?
I think it's just the general endurance factor of being in hotels and traveling for a long period of time. I don't think it's necessarily a downgrade in his quality as a pitcher. I think it's just a very unique environment in terms of the travel. And, we talk about, some of these things like, outside of baseball, like a long trip, even the greatest people just fatigue at the end of it in their life. And as I said, I think the 5-0 road is just unsustainable statistically for this guy. I don't see him running pretty much the best campaign in all of baseball, win-loss rate on the road throughout the entire 162. And I do think Gavin Williams is truly elite in this spot, as the data has suggested. Home games, out of division against the American League East. We will revisit later tomorrow. Great conversation as always, and we will keep it moving. Next game on the card, 7:07. We love that time. Blue Jays home game on a Monday. Patrick Corbin hosting Christopher Sanchez. Sanchez coming in here off one of the best months in Major League history. Finally giving up an earned run against the Padres in his last start after going, I believe, over 50 innings with no earned runs. Mike, we were talking about this every single start, saying, when is this going to stop? The guy is beyond impressive. You give up 1 run, it's kind of a letdown. 1, that's it. What's he going to do tonight?
It's a tricky game for sure. I mean, I think the Phillies have found themselves back to form, and they get the top of the 9th. So I'll go with the Phillies run line. Corbin doesn't factor so much into the performance for me, but I look at the pitcher, and what do we know about this guy besides just being an absolute stud, putting together one of the best made campaigns in all of baseball history? Is he goes deep. He gets his projections. He's got 20.5 outs recorded as his number. You can slap that thing at -110. Fading Patrick Corbin, you're 60-23, albeit you're only 6-4 in the last 10. So it's not quite the domination, which is kind of weird because you would think as time moves on, his arm would get more and more jello. But in this case, that's not necessarily the situation. I just think at this point, the Phillies, you play a team that's on a 2-game winning streak or more. They're 62-41. They're going to get the top of the 9th inning. And you can catch this run line here at a pretty compelling price. So as much as I like the Blue Jays, these are my teams, man. I don't know if you knew that, Chuck. My AL team is the Toronto Blue Jays, by geography specifically. My NL team, the Philadelphia Phillies, by fan base and loyalty. So -1.5 on the run line for the Philadelphia Phillies. Even money. I'll take it.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. This is a tough game for me. And just in terms of the price, obviously when you're laying that much and expect margin here under 7.5, it's going to have to get to Philly somewhere around like 5-2, 4-2, like that, 4-1. But the only hesitation for me here is Corbin in his last home start was actually a dog versus not your boy, Paul Skeens. Did actually beat Skeens 5-2. So, again, not officially on this, but just a point of reference here. Corbin does show up here against these aces in interleague play, and Sanchez definitely fits that conversational angle. We had actually told you guys Corbin here, campaign one with the Blue Jays, had not looked particularly good at home in his first 3 starts, but he did find it on Saturday, May 23rd against Skeens. So that's why you have an under number. I think both pitchers will actually shove in the matchup. Mike, covering -1.5. As I said, I think 5-1, 4-1, something like that. You're on -1.5, you said?
Yeah, I'll take the run line here. Road team, Philadelphia Phillies. Like I said, I also going to take that over 20.5 outs for Sanchez. That's a +102 spot.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. The number is telling us a pitcher's duel is coming tonight. If I had to take anything, I would look towards the under, and let's keep it moving. Next game on the card, we got 4 late night games tonight. 8 total. Second divisional game. Astros at Angels opening up the series. Spencer Arrighetti at Grayson Rodriguez. Very interesting conversation. Both teams sort of pedestrian, sort of underperforming, short line, kind of in the middle. Mike, what's going on here?
Man, I told y'all it was a spaghetti Arrighetti spot last week, and he was out there against none other than Paulie Skeens. So, listen, spaghetti Arrighetti, to me, he's earned it, and it comes down to his win contributions. And this felt like a really great spot as I looked at the card early. Like, you got Houston, okay, struggling a little bit, not surprised, coming off of a loss, not just a loss, but a shutout, okay? Love playing teams off a shutout. You got the Angels. Well, guess what the Angels did? They smacked the bottoms on their hometown rivals. I mean, smacked them good, too. What was it, like 13-5 or something like that? I slipped in an Angels run line, and I felt like a bitch afterwards. I was like, man, what the Angels, if you're going for them, go for them. So you got the fact that the Angels are coming off a big opponent out there, and they're catching a win. And then you got the second or third most profitable pitcher in Major League Baseball coming into this thing. So, perfect storm for Spaghetti Arrighetti dub. Grayson Rodriguez on the other side of things. It don't take much for me to get into the fade position of this guy. He is, look at that, 9.5. He has earned every one of those earned runs in his ERA. So he's not striking out. He's sub the 1-to-1 ratio in that spot as well. I like Spaghetti Arrighetti. I like the Astros. I was tempted, and I still may get there with Spaghetti Arrighetti to pick up the win in this game, simply because, again, all those other factors go into it. The thing that keeps me off at Shark is they did get shut out last game. So what you need to have happen is your pitcher goes 5, at least. They're putting runs on the board, and they're north of the opponent. Well, the opponent in this case did just put some runs up there against them LA Dodgers. So a couple things that I looked at when it came down to it, but I think this thing here has got my name on it. Spaghetti Arrighetti to get the win is sitting at +150. I may get there as well, but I like the Astros. You know what? This could be the spot we talked about last week. The old trifecta. It could be first 5 full game and Spaghetti Arrighetti to get the win. But for now, I'll jump in on the Astros. Give me the dub.
I hope you don't cash it from my financial records because I have the Angels in this game. I've been trying to fade Arrighetti all year. And Mike, I really think we're going to hit a point here where these guys who are just playing with fire and getting away with it are going to get burned. How many times can this guy go on the road, catch a win with obscenely inflated peripherals? You go through his road starts, he has 16 walks combined in his first 4 before finally pulling it together a little at Texas in his last road start. But forget that. Let's go back to his previous start where he caught a win against Paul Skeens. Did he beat Paul Skeens, or did the bullpen implode historically for the Pirates? The Astros scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th with nobody on and 2 outs. We were talking about this last week. The probability to score 6 runs in a situation where there are no runners on base and 2 outs, it happens 1.6 times out of every 1,000 outcomes. We're talking about an outlier of outliers here. And Arrighetti on the road, as I said, is an absolute gas can. Continuing on that, he's 0-2 in his career against the Angels. And you look at Grayson Rodriguez, nice home splits. He's 0-2 with the Angels out of the division against the NL West. He got shelled against the Dodgers, and he had an absolutely terrible start against the Rockies. His only home start inside of the division, 9-6 win against Jacob deGrom and the Texas Rangers, which I did give you guys officially in that start. And something I wanted to discuss on this when I was looking at it before, this for me doesn't have to be Rodriguez being, game 7 ace here. You look at that 9-6 win against DeGrom. I think that's what you're going to see. I think Arrighetti has it coming. I think you're going to see a high-scoring Angels victory here tonight. And, of course, I did consider the fact that the Angels just beat the Dodgers. But I also said to myself, it's baseball. It's 162. Grayson Rodriguez will be ready to go in this matchup. I like the Angels. The number is crazy short, too. Houston's been laying like 200 in this matchup for a couple years. It's another one of these wildly short lines. Mike, any further thoughts?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that this line's only minus 120 when you're dealing with the fact that Houston just got shut out. So the fact that they're in that road favorite should be the cautionary. And then, I think you have to equally rate both sides of it. If you look at the whip, the walks and hits per innings pitched, you talk about Arrighetti's numbers out there, but dude, Grayson Rodriguez is, 1.89. So you got 1.18 in Arrighetti. You got 1.89. I don't know why it only cancels out for Arrighetti when it should equal or proportionately factor in on the Rodriguez side of things as well. So this will be a fun one. We'll put another star next to it and see how it comes down to it. But stay tuned. This may be listen, we're 2-0 on the trifecta spots. This may be a trifecta spot for me. So we'll see. Got a star next to it.
Yeah, just one final point on this as I'm looking at it. You talk about specific patterns. It's even better than I originally was saying. Go back to the Dodgers start. He went precisely 3 2/3 innings pitched, precisely 7 earned runs in a margin loss, stayed at home and beat Texas 9-6. Against Colorado, he just had exactly 3.2 innings pitched, 7 earned runs, the exact same scoreline against an NL West opponent. And now he stays at home for a divisional game. Very interesting stuff. I love these patterns. We will revisit. It will be a late night special, Mike. Maybe I'll crack a beer. I don't know. Maybe I'll go for a run. I need to get the cobwebs out of these coin flips sample for myself. Anyway, great conversation. If you guys are taking the Astros, type Astros. We're taking the Angels, type Angels. If you're in the chat, say what's up. Let's ramp up the energy on this Monday. And let's keep it moving. Next game on the card, 9:40 in San Diego. Cincinnati traveling cross-country to the Padres. Interesting spot here. Walker Buehler at the notorious Andrew Abbott. Hosting the notorious Andrew Abbott. Mike, I'll say it again. Is there already a runner on third in the bottom of the first?
We might have to change the tune here because this guy's on fire, dude. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. In his last 3-4 game sample, he's catching W's on top of it. He's playing with a team that's got a horseshoe up their ass. And he's got Walker Buehler on the other side in a San Diego Padres team that struggles against lefties. That's where Andrew Abbott's had the success factor this year, in my opinion. We talk about the lefty factor. It is no BS. 18% of the league trots a lefty out there, which means only 1 out of every 5 times are these teams seeing that spin, that alternate rotation. And when you take a guy that's got 3-4 tools in his belt, like Andrew Abbott, he had some room to progress, and he has done just that this year. So first 5 for me with Andy Abbott looks good. My concern, and I'll say this again, is one of the best, if not the best bullpens right now in baseball. Probably Phillies come in number 2. We talked about this last week. I told you guys last week, I shared with you and introduced some of the pitchers to get the win reports. Then I look at it and said, let's talk about this week bullpen situations. And, San Diego ranks 1. Philly ranks 2. San Diego coming in off of that spot there last night against the Mets or yesterday afternoon, and they just looked anemic. It was just mercy runs towards the end of the game where they were able to put it on the board. So, look, the Reds' first 5, can't fuck with them. You're catching plus 100 money on that first 5 red spot. Full game for them, Reds. You're catching plus 116, and, well, why not? We're here. We're talking about it. Andy Abbott to record the win, plus 180. I love it. I love all 3 of those spots.
I don't. We're disagreeing on this one. Take the
man.
Padres. We're firing on this Monday. Mike, I just think we're kind of caught in the past on some of these handicaps with these guys being terrible or great, but inflated. That's my handicap with these guys. They're very inflated. So how long can they continue to hang on is my idea here. I think Abbott really is playing with fire, and I think the Reds are really in a spot to sell situationally here. They're actually 6-1 straight up series openers on the road outside of the division. So they look absolutely great in this spot. You got to look at those 6 wins. They were at Miami and they were at the Mets. So at the NL East, and the other 4 were all interleague at the American League. So American League teams not showing up against the Reds. And then the Reds kind of outclassing a mediocre Marlins team and really what's been a significant underperformance from the Mets early season. So again, I look at the 6-1 and I say, wow, it's kind of fool's gold. Then you look at what's going on here tonight. San Diego is in a bye spot with Walker Buehler on the bump. Buehler at home this year is 2-0 as a favorite outside of the division, 1-2 as an underdog outside of the division. So books have this guy completely nailed. You buy him when he's favored in this spot, and he's only given up 14 earned runs this year at home at Petco Park, which for me, I was looking at it and I said, I have written down here, he's back out west. It's where he's comfortable. He pitched great with the Dodgers. He was a great home pitcher. He likes pitching on the West Coast. He's from Kentucky, but he just likes being out here. And then I zoomed in even further and I said last year with the Red Sox, he sucked, but he actually did pitch well at Fenway, which centered me even further. This guy just loves driving to a professional baseball stadium and pitching from his home turf. He loves pitching at home. And final point on this, Cincinnati's off a road sweep at St. Louis. Talk about psychology. Big division series over the weekend. The games were pretty competitive. Late games, back and forth. Now you got to get on a plane and go west to the Padres, who are staying at home in their comfort zone off a dud loss yesterday. And the only other time this year Cincinnati got swept in the division over a weekend series, they stayed on the road the following Monday and proceeded to get swept again in the following series, 0-4 Monday through Thursday that week, to complete an 0-7 road trip, which brings me to the absolute final point in this game. The Cincinnati Reds are the best sell team in the entire sport. They're hovering right around 500, and their run differential suggests they should be at least 10 games under 500. They are not a good baseball team. Buehler will shove. Bounce back coming. That is that. Mike, any final comments?
Yeah, I don't argue that sometimes pitchers are running too hot, but they use a stat that you can just simply look at for quick index, and that's the expected earned runs against. So when you look at this guy, last year he was averaging, about, what was it, about a 3.5 or so ERA on the Andy Abbott side of things. His expected ERA was like almost 5, so he was outperforming his expected ERA. This year, however, his ERA sits at 4, and his expected ERA is similar to the first couple starts of his career, the first 2 seasons of his career. So in terms of is he due, the answer is no. Is he getting lucky? The answer is no. He's outperforming and battling, and that tell of the tape is the expected earned run versus the actual, and that has a hybrid factor that goes into, pitching factors, balls and strikes, whips, and all those other things that go around it. But we'll see. It'll be a fun one. Walker Buehler, I gave you guys, what was it, the 28-0 Walker Buehler spot. That is not active here today, though. So another little asterisk next to it. We'll see how it shakes out as it's all said and done.
Yeah, just one final point. If you look at these road games for Abbott coming off a previous home game, he has actually flirted with it just ultra specifically in this spot. Game at Miami, 6 hits, 2 walks, and 5 1/3, so very inflated. At Minnesota, again, caught a win, but 4 2/3, 6 hits, 3 walks, 3 earned runs. And at the Cubs, 0 earned runs. This is the Andy Abbott special. No runs against, 4 hits, 4 walks, runners on base all day. So I understand the data, and I actually do like the data.
Hey.
No, Mike, we're just chatting ball. We're chatting ball. I'm just going into it. No, I do understand the data. I just think there's no way you can just have that many runners on base game to game and just continue to get out of every single jam. So we'll see tomorrow, and we will keep it moving. Next game on the card, 9:45 in San Francisco. Nats Giants opening up a series tonight. Miles Mikolas at Logan Webb. Giants last night caught a win at Wrigley. Mike was on it. Mike and I were talking ball overnight last night. Great spot there. Now they got to get on a plane and come home to catch the Nats, who are scrappy in the spot. Mike, you bought him last night on the road. You going to buy him tonight at home?
I kind of get involved with this Giants team here. This is probably not one of my more favorite games, definitely one of my least favorite spots on the card here. I'm not a Mikolas fan. It would take a lot for me to get in the Mikolas business. And, the problem I have right now is you have 69% of the bets, but 51% of the cash coming in on the Giants. Now that line is moving almost 50 cents against the Giants. So there's a lot of money coming in, and yet the books are saying we don't care. So road dogs against teams coming home after Sunday night baseball, they're just 7-6. So it's not as big an advantage as everyone's going to tell you about the Sunday night baseball. Sunday night baseball. To me, it's more about Logan Webb, and Logan Webb can fire. So I kind of think and have this feeling like, you know what, give me the first 5. And if I take the run line on San Francisco, it's kind of contrarian because you're going to think the bats are asleep. They had that travel. But it's Miles Mikolas, man. And talk about a guy that is expected in his actual ERAs. I mean, this guy stinks. And so for him to come out there and have the anomaly performance, I'll take that if I have to, because Logan Webb at home, he's 39-13 in his last 5 seasons. So, you know, as long as he doesn't have an outliers number, like he's not playing with an 11 or something like that, which very rarely happens in San Francisco. The problem is we know their bats can get stifled. We know the Nationals have one of the best first inning run lines on the business here, but this first 5 at -0.5 at -114 feels like the San Francisco way to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree here. I think Webb is going to shove. Webb actually did beat the Nats on the road on Friday, April 17th by margin 10-5. That's going to lead me to my best look in the game. I think you're going to see a lower scoring game here. That line was 8.5, approaching 9, hit 15 runs at Zach Littell. And now you're moved down to 8. And Mikolas is kind of deceptive with his 6.39 ERA. He's very start to start. He did get absolutely lit up in one start, I believe double-digit earned runs against way earlier in the year, which kind of contaminates his overall average a little bit. But I do think you're going to see a lower scoring game. The Giants don't score sustainably. They've scored better on the road. I think there could be a little lethargy in the bats off the late game at Wrigley last night. And I think Webb may have traveled before the team, probably didn't get on a plane late night. He probably traveled earlier in the afternoon separately. So he'll be on more of a regulated body time here. And the Nats kind of in a funky spot, only scoring 1 yesterday on the road at Soroka. Best look in this game for me would be the under. Mike, any thoughts on the under?
No. Good luck.
No, fair enough. I mean, it's not like a banger spot, but I do think 10-5 over 9 and move down signifies a little bit of a tighter, lower scoring game here. Mike likes the first 5. I think the under is the best look, and we will keep it moving. 10:05 in Las Vegas. Am I seeing?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
2 series this week that the A's will be playing at the minor league ballpark. There should be all of about 5,000 people there. And it's going to be something they do the next couple seasons until they open up the new home of the Las Vegas Athletics.
Wow. Yeah, no, I'm shocked to see that. When I was looking at it, I thought it was going to be in Sacramento. But anyway, Brewers at A's. Kyle Harrison on the bump at Jeffrey Springs. Harrison obviously looking ultra clean. Total sitting at 11, Mike. I mean, you talk about trying to handicap a stadium. I don't think we have like really any data on, right? I mean, what's going on here?
It's very similar to Sacramento Stadium. It's a minor league ballpark. They got the fields in a little bit out there. And, you know, it's going to be hot. It's fucking Vegas. It's Vegas in the summertime. It's like the worst place you could be. So that being said, Kyle Harrison has been an absolute killer. And I like that about him. You know, I like the numbers about him. I think this is one of them spots again where you got to like the over. I mean, first of all, this is one of them situations where maybe you even look at the same game parlay where you go for the big swing, and that's Harrison to get the win. Harrison to get the win in these cases out there. The guy is 7-0 this year. So you got to respect the campaign he's putting together. We had him the other day to get the win. He got the win for us. Springs, 4.37 ERA. The wild card factor to me is, do the Athletics get amped up to be at the stadium? Now they do pitch well, or they do hit well against lefties. They do find a way to pull wins out against lefties. They did just come off a loss against lefties though. God damn, that JT Ginn to get the win the other day still hurts my heart, but I like the over. Monday night, listen, equal rest. The over's been a casher, 22-10 if it's a night game out there on a Monday. So I think you look at this and you say Milwaukee, Harrison to get the win. The game goes over. Milwaukee first 5 -0.5. This is a banger for a closeout special for the Athletics. Send them fans home with expensive tickets and a blistered bottom.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, you talk about a funky line for a guy with a 1.57 ERA. I mean, we've been talking about this every single start with Harrison. The Giants clearly made a mistake getting rid of this guy. He's given up his highest runs against all year in a start is 2 earned runs. So all of a sudden you get this guy who has been, I mean, we're talking one of the best pitchers in all of baseball at this point in the season, and the line is 11. And I'm looking at the park now. It looks like it's as you said, minor league park, the Las Vegas Aviators, which are in the Pacific Coast League, which is probably, I guess, AAA or AA for the A's.
Pacific Coast League's a very batter-friendly league. There's a lot of these various elevation and sea level spot where the ball just gets crushed like it's yardstick or nothing. They actually judge the hit. It's almost like the pitcher numbers are very similar to judging a pitcher at Coors, but the batter numbers are very much like judging a batter at Coors. If you're not out there knocking home runs around the yard, it's a slight against you in the Pacific League.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And, you talk about Jeffrey Springs somewhat struggling in these funky stadiums historically. Better on the East Coast. As we mentioned, he's from North Carolina, pitched for the Rays for a while. This is going to be one of those, let the line tell you the story. Why do two basically, you got an ace and you got like a mid-rotation guy with upside in Jeffrey Springs. Why is the line 11? Everything we said. Best look in this game is the over. Take it and let's cash. That's 41 and change, Mike, and we got best bets.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, man. Going to have to put some of these together for you. I like the Astros minus 122. I will take the It's tough here. I know we're head to head in several spots here, but I'll take the Andy Abbott first 5 plus 100 as well. That's it. I'll give you 2. I'll give you Houston minus 122, Andy Abbott, and then I'll give you the Willie Warren over 4.5 strikeouts at plus 105.
All right, great. I'll give you guys the Mariners. The buy hat is engaged, minus 122. Taking the Guardians minus 117. I'll jump on that over as well. I do have it officially. We'll give a shout to our guy, Jermaine. Jermaine, if it cashes tomorrow, we'll give you another shout. Take the over in the Mariners game. That's an over at 9. And one final play, Mike. I think we both agree on this one. I'm taking the over at 10.5. In Las Vegas ballpark, Brewers A's.
Okay.
And,
sounds good.
Parlay 2-leg just for the people, I guess. Maybe 3.
Let's go. Let's take the Brewers. Let's take Boston.
Yeah.
And let's take the San Francisco first 5 money line.
All right, sounds good to me.
You okay with the first? You're good with San Fran, right? You don't have the Nats.
Yeah, that's the right spot. Absolutely.
Okay. Sounds good. There you have it, you guys. Bunch of best bets. We got 7 of them laid out there for you. Lots of head-to-head competition. So you're going to want to tune back in tomorrow and see if we just ended up splitting. We went 500, 2-2 or something like that. Funky makes a lot of sense as it comes down to it, you guys. But great job today, Shark. Big week ahead for everybody that's tuned in to be a sports bettor. You'll find us here Monday through Friday. We'll be doing it at 12 p.m. as we do every week, bringing you guys our thoughts, our looks, our opinions, our trends, our angles, and our best bets. Shark, tell them what's up, where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you guys on the daily hanging out with us. It is approaching 1 o'clock on the East Coast. If you guys haven't dropped a comment in the live chat, please drop a comment after the show underneath with your plays, comments, any thoughts, or whatever is going on. That is that for that one. Tomorrow we open up 7 additional series, Big Card Tuesday. And as Mike said, a little disagreement, but I always say, it's conversation. We got 162. I said it last week, and I'll say it again. We got about 100 metrics in baseball, and things can cluster left, right, and center. But anyway, great conversation, Mike. Always a fire show, and we will be back tomorrow. Always, guys, please manage your bankroll. So if variance goes against you in a week, you are here to stay long-term, and that is that. It is MLB Bases Loaded, June 8th, 2026, the Monday show. For Mike, I'm the Shark. Stay fast, stay strong, stay disciplined. And let's dominate.
I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine.